Hey guys, it's Krista. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about my birth story. So apparently, and I did not know this, there's like a pretty big stigma with having a C-section. And I want to share my story because mine was not planned. But I didn't know until after the fact, like a week after we had our daughter, that there was like a thing about this, and that there's a lot of there's a lot of stigma and almost like shaming of women who have a C-section. And to me, that is mind-blowing. And please, if don't do that to people. Don't ever shame anybody for giving life, because no matter how your baby gets brought into this world, you carried that child for 9 months. That child was sent from heaven to you. You're welcome. And however you get them here, just get them here. And you deserve an award. And you won't get one, but you deserve one. You'll get a crown in heaven. But it's an achievement, and it's amazing in any way, as long as the baby, if you have a baby that is born healthy, that is such a reason to be so excited. Like I could never imagine feeling anything bad about how my daughter was born. And I have an incredible birth story. Mine was so amazing. I had amazing people involved. So I just want to share that with you guys real quick. And I hope that this will bless someone. And I want to start breaking that stigma off. And I feel like there's a lot of people that I have seen recently, like couples that I follow on YouTube, that now they're coming to their second child and they're having a C-section, and they're dealing with some backlash about it. And I didn't know until after we had her. My husband and I were laying in bed, and he said, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "Great. Dominating life right now, I'm a mother." And he was like, "Oh, well, are you okay with the fact that you had a C-section?" I'm like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" And he's like, "Well, just want to make sure emotionally you're good." I'm like, "Yeah, stellar." And that was when I found out that sometimes that's something people actually have to deal with, and sometimes they actually have to get counseling over it. But now I see a lot of people are on their second child, they are having a C-section, and they're kind of coming forth about it because they had so many complications trying to deliver the regular way, and weren't going to go through that again, because a lot of them had to have counseling and had to go through a lot of things because their birth stories were so traumatic. Now, take into account, I prayed a lot about mine, and I just knew, I don't know, I had a really great pregnancy, and I just knew that this was my baby, and I didn't care what I had to do to get her here as long as she got here. And I had that mindset the whole time. I didn't, I knew God was going to be with me, and I had an amazing doctor who was all about my comfort. And so, my take on birth was probably a lot different than people's. I mean, we had a birth plan, but if the plan had to be deviated, cool. So that's just me. And so here we go. So I got induced at 39 weeks, and I go to my doctor, and she's like, "So you're against being induced?" I was like, "Oh, no. I said, "I'm all about it. I'm ready. I want to meet her." I was so excited to meet this baby. I can't even tell you, how excited I was to meet this little girl. And I'm gonna cry. Oh gosh, I'm gonna cry. So she tells me, okay, and plus I wanted her to deliver her. I didn't trust anybody else, okay? That is a sensitive thing. And generally, if you don't, you just get whoever's on call. So she's like, "Okay, well, we will schedule your induction for," this was on a Thursday. She's like, "A week from today, next Thursday, be here at midnight." And I just start bawling. And she's like, "I can't tell if you're laughing or if you're crying." And I'm like, "I'm crying. I'm gonna cry right now." And I was so happy. And I was like, "I can't believe I'm gonna meet her. And I can't believe you're gonna deliver her." And so I walk out into the waiting room, 9 months pregnant, and bawling. So of course everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, what is happening to this lady? Is she okay?" And I tell the ladies at the front desk, I'm like, "I'm gonna meet her in a week, and my doctor's delivering her." And I just walk out, and I go bawl all the way to my husband's office, go in there bawling, sit there until he gets done with his patient. He comes in and I just bawling. We're so excited. Then, a side story, I go to Walmart after and I run into my sister who we had not talked in like 6 years. Anyway, that's a different story. But an amazing reconciliation happened there. It was a wonderful day. So, counting down the days and get to the day of delivery. And we go to the hospital and they ended up having me come in at 5. She made it different. And so I come in at 5. We're so excited, ready to rock and roll. So they start to induce. So they give me the pill and to kind of start get labor going. And then they wanted to do a mechanical dilation. And so I don't even know if I want to describe this on the internet, but anyway, they do a mechanical dilation. And then they do another pill. And so it starts to get things going. And so we're racing against the clock because I'm watching her on the monitor right now. She's okay. And so, we're racing against the clock because she needs to deliver me. So we need it to be done by the end of her shift. And so, we get in there, we get in our room, we start doing all the stuff. And then my doctor comes in, she's all excited, and she's like, "Did you see your surprise?" And I was like, "No, what do you mean a surprise?" She brings in this hospital. That's my baby crying. Hold on. She's just fighting her little nap. Oh no. Oh no. She's falling asleep. And so she brings in the hospital bassinet that her nurse had decorated for me. It had gold and blush streamers going all the way across it. It had a bunny bedding in it, and it was so cute. It actually have a piece of it up in her nursery because it matched so well. And then my nurse comes in. Well, we had one nurse come in. She was so sweet. Apparently I walked the halls with my gown open in the back. Go me. Killing it, just doing my thing. Didn't know. Of course I didn't know. But that was embarrassing. And it's okay. Hold on. You guys are going to come with me to put her passy in. Hold on. So we have a nurse come in, and she was super sweet. And then we get another nurse, and she comes in and she's like, "Hey," she's like, "I was told to be your nurse by your doc. I'm just leaving names out, but your doctor's nurse. She has me as your nurse today to take care of you because she only trusted me to do it." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, hold on, where's your passy, sis? Where's your passy? Where's your passy? Say hi, sweet girl." She's so sweet. I don't know where her passy is, but and so I'm like, oh my gosh. So it's just an incredible experience because there were so many people that were just like dedicated. Hi, yeah, silly girl. There were so many people that were just dedicated to making this the best experience for me. And it was just so sweet. And so I think better outside since I'm going on my porch. And so, so it was just incredible. So I dilate, right? So I get all the way. So, we're coming up on like 5 o'clock the next day. And I'd been in, obviously labor. I'd been laboring. And also, something else I put on my birth plan and that I did was like, I want an epidural and I want pain medicine should I need it, because in my view, she's coming out. And my view was, if I am miserable and I am in so much pain, I am not going to enjoy this. We have this available to make this very intense situation very bearable. Now, I know it's different for everybody, and I'm not saying that's for everyone, but I personally was not harsh on myself about it at all. I thought, I am giving birth to like an 8-pound baby. And I'm going to have pain medicine, you know, like I'm going to not deal with this full on because I don't have to. So that was just me, and that's not for everyone, but that was just me. And so I just knew, okay, we're doing this in here. I just knew I wanted to have a really great experience. And so they do the epidural. As soon as I started really kind of getting uncomfortable, we do the epidural. I don't feel anything. It works super well. Got a great nap. And then 5 o'clock rolls around and I'm dilated all the way. And she comes in and we decide to start pushing. And so I start pushing. And I did have this small moment of panic before the pushing started. Because like you don't know what that's really going to be like until you're in it, and when you're in it, you can't get out of it until it's done. So I turned on some worship music, and I just sat there for like 5 minutes with my husband before it really kind of started. Just remembered that like God was with me, and like everything was going to be okay. Like we're going to meet her soon. So we start pushing, and the doctor just looks at the monitor, and she just doesn't look happy about it. Like she just keeps looking at it, and I keep looking at her, and I'm getting to the point where I can tell them when a contraction was coming, and so I was able to push through it, but it didn't hurt. And so apparently my epidural had actually fallen out, so it was enough for me to feel, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So it was enough for me to feel to push. And so in this, I've got the most incredible team who are helping me push. We're enjoying it. I'm meeting new nurses as they're coming in, and we're like chit-chatting in between contractions. I mean, it was a good time. I was enjoying the pushing process. It was fun just knowing every push I was working towards getting her out, you know? And so my doctor keeps looking at the screen, and she's just like, she was so far up still, and she was starting to have cord compressions, and she had been having them off and on all day. And so they would just kind of move me and have me kind of adjust. And the cord compressions were getting more intense, and she wasn't down. She wasn't where she needed to be. I mean, she was in the birth canal, but no matter how hard I pushed and what we were doing, she wasn't coming. And mind you, a little backstory, when my sister had her son, he broke his collarbone coming out. Oh, sweet girl, my goodness. And so that was in the back of my mind. And so she just said, I don't like what I'm seeing. She said, I'm seeing these cord compressions. I don't feel her like coming down. Like, she's been around a block. She knows enough to know. She's like, I really think, in my opinion, we should have a C-section. But I did have the option. And she said, we could wait a while and we could try again. She said, but I would much rather schedule this than to have to do an emergency one, because she knew that was probably going to be the outcome. And honestly, after being in the delivery room with my sister, with my niece, let me turn this down a little bit. So you guys are getting a numbers lesson. After being in the delivery room with my sister's baby, I kept wondering, why are they not doing a C-section? Because that girl was caught up. Like, she was not coming out, and it was horrible. I hear stories about people blacking out. Like, you know, everybody's thing is different. You are so sweet. You are so sweet. She just likes to talk to mom. So look at the baby. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So we just were like, I just said, I want to meet her. Like, I don't want to wait. And so they booked the OR. They said it'll probably be at least 2 hours before you, or an hour before we're ready, before we have you ready. Well, we had family in the waiting room. And so my husband's like, I'm just going to go tell everybody hi and tell them to go home and tell them what we're doing. I was like, okay, cool. Well, everybody rushes in and they're getting me ready, realize my epidural fell out. And they're heading me to the OR within 15 minutes. He's not even back in the room yet. Now, this was one of the moments where things were really kind of scary, because here's the deal. Whether you give birth vaginally or you give birth through C-section, it's still scary. And the thing is that it's just kind of that unknown. And with the C-section, you're just being completely cut open. But, yeah, so they are rushing me back. I'm like, my husband's not here. Like, we've got to find him. And they're like, no, we're going to go find him right now. So they've already got me on the table. They've got me completely medicated. And then I told my doctor, I said, I'm scared. And she's like, it's okay. She said, we're not going to do anything until he's here. I was like, okay. And so then all of a sudden he walks in, he's looking all fine in his scrubs with his little hat on. I mean, I'm sorry, but he looked really cute. I was like, dang, I'm about to make another one of these babies. Just kidding. But you know what I mean? He looked cute. And so there I was with my fine man who's calling me right now. I'm going to wrap this up. And so, yeah, so there we are. And a few minutes later, they raise her up over the sheet and there's my baby. Total meltdown, total breakdown. And it was incredible. And so they take you to a room. And I immediately threw up. That's not a fun part of it, but it happened. It was just a lot of medicine. Like, it was just a lot of things they had to put to make me not feel anything. And so I did. I threw up, and then Dalton brought our daughter in, and it was hard because I couldn't really hold her just yet, but I made myself, and that would be one of the downsides is you are definitely groggy after, and there's a bit of a learning curve to that. And also, there is a recovery time that I think that that is much longer than probably if you give birth, the standard way. There's definitely cons to it. If you can do it, vaginally, do it. That's wonderful. But if you end up in a situation where you see your baby is in distress and your body is maybe not really going to go there, don't feel shame. Don't feel shamed about it. And that's the thing. It's like, there's not all this wonderful about a C-section, and there's not all these wonderful things about, a regular birth. But at the end of the day, the wonderful thing is that you brought life into the world, that your baby's here and they're safe. Her cord was wrapped around her neck when they got her out. And so had we waited, you don't know. And it would have been horrible to do an emergency one. But at the end of the day, it was an incredible experience. It truly was. And I just want moms to know that it's okay. You are not alone, and it's okay to have a C-section. And the thing is my husband explained to me, well, a lot of people just feel like they didn't really give birth if they had a C-section. And I'm like, and whether you did or you didn't, I labored. I was fully dilated. I pushed. I didn't miss out on anything. Other than the grand, arrival, I didn't miss anything. And I feel like I got the full experience. I am perfectly fine with it. So I just thought that was interesting that it's actually something where people actually kind of come down on other people about that, other women about that. And I'm like, that is absolutely horrible. And why would you do that to someone? They're just giving life. So this was my personal story. And yeah, so one of the cons of that was I was so swollen after. So swollen because they have to give you so much fluid. And then also I am still recovering 12 weeks later. So, the recovery is really intense. It still hurts to touch my stomach. I can do crunches. It doesn't hurt inside. It hurts to touch my skin. It has gotten significantly better, but it is kind of slow. So you do kind of have to prepare for a longer, recovery time. And I feel like there's something right there. For a longer recovery time, and that's okay. But yeah, when he told me that, I'm like, I really just want to share my story because I had a wonderful experience. I truly did. And honestly, I will so have another one because I can schedule that and have my baby within an hour. And personally, I'm all about it. I feel no shame. I feel no sadness. Like, it worked for me. So do what you do, have your baby, and do not worry about what anybody has to say about it, because it's all about the safety of your baby and you. And if it's not happening, I would just be really thankful for a doctor that would actually tell me that. So many women have told me stories about how the doctor told them no C-section whenever things got real, or it was never offered to them, or they just felt like if they didn't just power through and just go until they're blacking out. There's this lady, she's having to go to counseling. I follow them on YouTube. She was blacking out during her labor, and then now she has to go to counseling. She can't even stomach to go to the hospital. Like, that's sad. And the thing is it just happened, and I hate that happened to her. But it's like, I think people are starting to become more aware that it doesn't have to be that way. And for some people, it just happens. They're able just to give birth, and it's easy. Or not easy, but it functions, and it works the way that it should, and that's beautiful. But a C-section is no less beautiful, in my opinion. And I just wanted to share some positive light on that, because I do have a very positive story with it. I had a wonderful experience. I think back on that whole time extremely fondly. Can't wait to do it again. And, now we know. And also, the scar, incredible. Lady did an amazing job sewing me up. I'm shocked at how good it looks. So anyway, I just wanted to share my story. I hope you enjoy it, and don't ever worry about somebody shaming you for that, because that is absolutely ridiculous. Do you, boo. Bye, guys.